All right, welcome to a Final Siren special breakout podcast / vodcast / whatever you want to call it. We're joined with Karl Worner from the Fremantle Football Club. I keep saying from the Fremantle Football Club like it's something else. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I said it with Alex Pearce, one we did on the other day. Now, talk us through the Swedish Connection. What's going on with that? Your middle sister Emma's over in Sweden. Your mum's over there at the moment. What did mum just go, I'm heading over to Sweden, go visit your sister, or what was the conversation there, or what's actually happening, I guess?
Yeah, so, well, I'm pretty much half Swedish. Mum's born Swedish, and she met my father, moved to Australia, and then it was actually probably just after the Melbourne game. My mum and my dad went travelling to Europe. My sister's been out there for about 3 months travelling. She's doing a big travel trip in Europe. Yeah, she's over there, and then Emma went just to meet her there and just see some of the family again.
If I could ask a bit of a deeper dive on the Swedish Connection, mate, any sort of sporting clubs that you follow over there, Swedish football or whatever?
It's more the ice hockey, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
tasty.
We're from pretty North Sweden, and when we go, there's a lot of snow, pretty cold, not a lot of soccer there, but more in the summer times, but we don't go really too much in Swedish summer because it's middle of footy season, so not doing too much of that. But there's a team, Skellefteå, which is an ice hockey team. We always used to go there and watch the ice hockey, and I sort of just really fell in love with ice hockey. Like, it's a brutal game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what they're doing these days. But but whenever we go over there, we always go watch a couple matches because my cousins over there, they're all diehard ice hockey fans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I really want to deep dive into this Swedish stuff as well. Like, I'm all about IKEA, all that kind of stuff, ABBA. No, but just talk to us about, like, does that mean are you good at, like, winter sports, like you skiing and stuff like that? Do you go skiing?
Yeah, so we're quite a big skiing family. That's why moving to WA was probably a little bit foreign because I can't say I'm much on the surfboard. I'm probably more on the skis.
Bluff Knoll.
Yeah, Bluff Knoll Ski Club, mate, down where I'm from. Snows once every about 3 or 4 years, and they get the ski club out there, and I think the record's about 2 metres. Someone went 2 metres on the snow down there, so.
Yeah, well, I learned growing up when I spent a bit of time living in Sweden. We did a fair bit of skiing there. Look, I'm not going to say I'm great or anything, but, I know how to. But we also in Melbourne, we've got just a place at the base of Mount Buller, so we always go there during winter.
So you're probably in the top 1% of skis in Australia.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's get back to the footy and touch on it a little earlier, but your journey to get to Fremantle, quite unique. You feel like going into a little bit of a deep dive there, obviously pick 8 2021 rookie draft, and during COVID times too, so quite the challenge to get over. Talk us through that and obviously the emotions and stuff going through, that whole process.
Yeah, it was certainly a very tricky time, not just for myself, for my family, especially through 2020 and 2021. Just all the COVID restrictions had a real big impact. My dad's business is in travel agency, so he was pretty deeply affected. So it wasn't just myself, but it was my whole family as well. And I sort of found a real passion during that time to try work hard and just get the best out of myself. Unfortunately, I didn't actually play a single game in 2020. Which was my actual draft year. So I just set all my eyes to the 2021 draft. And the limited amount of games, I guess, there, I sort of earned myself an opportunity to get rookied, which I was over the moon with at the time. But we knew coming over that there was just going to be some difficulties in me getting over and when that was going to be. But they were very good with their communication. Look, I just knew what I had to do. Obviously, it wasn't going to be that same full-time pre-season that they have over here, and I knew I was going to be well behind coming over, but it's something that I accepted pretty early. But I was mostly just so keen to come over and just get amongst it, really, and I wanted to try and do the best I could back in the circumstances that I had in Melbourne, just to try and catch up. But, it did take a bit of time to sort of just adjust and get to that level. Pretty underdeveloped in that sense. That's why I think this pre-season that I had was super important, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple.
Nice.
Awesome, and just like obviously COVID was a massive thing in everyone's lives, but your delay, was that like getting the G to G, getting into the state? Was it just, what was that like for you? Is that Fremantle dealing with that, or is that you on the phone being like, come on, Mark McGowan, let me in? Like, I've got a pre-season to get involved with.
Well, it was just out of my control, really. Like, I mean, there was plenty of phone calls between myself and the footy club, but there wasn't much I could do because I didn't really understand any of it. I didn't understand the rules. So I was sort of just a bit of a yes man in that situation. Like what I was told to do, the only thing I really could do is just go, yeah, and just make the best out of the situation that I could. So, I mean, it was plenty of phone calls with the club. There was a chance I could come over and do like all these different quarantines, but none of it could really work out. And the best thing that could happen is when the borders did open, I'd go over and do that quarantine. So that's the best situation that could happen at the time, especially for myself being from metropolitan Melbourne, where COVID was running riot at the time. And yeah, it was just a funny situation to look back on now, really, like how unique it was, but it's just the way it was, really, and I sort of accepted that pretty early because it's all you could really do.
Obviously, huge challenge, overcome, fantastic. You're at Peel, playing craft, all that sort of stuff. Talk us through your role at Peel prior to obviously your selection, and from halfback flanker to winger, and the development and journey there.
Yeah, so most of last year I spent a fair period on the wing. That was due, I guess, to my draft position, where I was drafted from. And at the time, they were just looking for maybe a bit of a positional change. I had some things to work on my game, to develop, to take my game to that next level, and just looked at going off the half-back, which I've had a little bit of familiarity with back at school footy and a little bit of Chargers footy. So we just tested that out and it actually worked out all right, and I started to find a lot of confidence off the half-back line, and I did a pre-season there just to work on like using my body, start learning to use my strength. I mean, you've got such great coaches there with Matty Boyd and Tendai, who I get along with really well, and they've guided me in the right direction. This year's sort of been similar. I just started off the year half-back and now transitioning into a bit more wing. Just really trying to facilitate as much as I can in my game and just try to keep branching, and just getting better, really, because the more positions I can play helps me work my way into the side. But from now on, not quite sure what the position will be, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So what do you think personally is your best position? Is it a halfback flank? Is it on a wing, or is it somewhere else?
Interesting you say that. It's kind of like until you get to the top level, you don't really know where your best position is. I think at halfback for Peel, I felt pretty confident in that role, and I have on the wing as well. But I guess at that top level, until I start playing real consistent footy there, I'll play a couple more games. I guess I'll find out a lot more about my footy against, I guess, top quality players and where that works back for me, whether that's back or wing. To be honest, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but I guess I'll find out over time.
I guess you're in good hands with Hayden Young, with your housemate, and obviously you're the number one ranked skier in Australia, and he's probably up there as being one of the highest ranked surfboarders or bodyboarders or whatever he does over there. But how does that mix work, mate? Because obviously he's had some time to settle in as well, and he's a good mentor.
Yeah, he's great. He's probably one of my best mates now, really. Yeah. We pretty much had the same host family. So when his first year, he was living with the Carters, and then I moved in last year with them. So we always had that little connection. And then once I moved to the back end of last year, we just started to connect a bit more. And then there was a spot to move in. I was like, I'm jumping in, Like, he's a great one to learn off. And it's interesting because I've gotten him into his golf game.
Nice.
So he's always sort of loved golf, and he's a beach man. And I'm like, I do love the beach, but growing up a bit more around snow and stuff, or being a bit more familiar to snow. But now we do spend a lot more time on the golf course together. I've got him at the moment, but he is getting a lot better. He's improving, which is great for him. We have a lot of fun there. But in terms of living with him, it's awesome. I guess moving away from home is never really easy, and he's had obviously experience with that. He's been there for 3-4 years now, I think. So just to learn off him and being another Victorian boy, it just really helps me sort of guide myself in the right direction, and just be really confident with myself over here in terms of living situation as well, because there's a lot more that goes on outside of footy, and just to really sort of develop myself, my off career, with my uni and all that. So he's been great, helped me get into my routine, and it's really helped me out in that aspect.
Nice.
So what are you doing at uni? What are you studying?
Project management.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
And you enjoy that?
Yeah, I do. I do really like it. I mean, it's hard because I'm still sort of studying from Melbourne at the moment, which is all online. My first year of uni, I did just all on campus, which I really enjoyed. You go in and you meet people. So it's a little bit tricky at times when you're all online because it's probably just not my best way of learning, but I really do enjoy it. It's something different. I wanted to try and like branch away from the sport aspect. Obviously, I love my sport and I always have and I always will. But I wanted to try something different. And I remember at school just going through different pathways, and this one really looks like a good one for me.
Nice. Quick fire question, Stuck. What do you reckon?
Yeah, let's just, before we do that, Youngie is a housemate. What's some things that really, is there anything that, you can get it off your chest here, you probably won't watch this, is there anything that really gets you goat about him? Like, is he messy with dishes? Is he
cooking?
You know?
No, he's a very good cook. Very good cook, very good cleaner.
That's why he moved in.
Yeah, he does a good job on that. Maybe, geez, I don't know. I think we're both not really morning people. So sometimes when it's like we get up in the car in the morning, we're both just get a bit miserable. Not much conversation going on. Maybe the dog sometimes. His dog, she gets a little bit misbehaved. I love Harper, but yeah, she's has done an accident in my room.
No.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's tough, summer.
But I mean, that's not her fault. We've just moved into the new place. There was no doggy door for her to go out, so she chose the second best place, my room. So
well trained.
Yeah. Nah, she's a great dog, but no, we have a lot of fun.
So if you're not a morning dude, when do you play golf?
Normally mid-morning to afternoon, but I've been working on it.
Yeah.
And I have got the feedback from my family that, mate, you need to start being more of a morning person. So I've got myself into better routines, which has worked, especially with early morning starts with training and all that. You got to be ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely worked on that. And I'm a lot better at it now.
Yeah, you have to get used to it with us playing at like 10:30 over at like West Coast time on a Saturday at the start of the year with daylight savings. Got to get used to that.
Yeah, I know.
Geez, I tell you what, you've got to be up in the morning. Maybe you'll be good for the Sunday afternoon games when we play at like 4:20 or whatever it is. All right, let's get into some quick fire questions. First one: Twitter, TikTok, or Threads?
TikTok.
If you had to choose one player at the club to save your life, which involved them not answering their phone, who would that be?
Oh, that's a hard one. Driz.
Okay.
Who's the worst cook at the club?
Oh, God, I'd be close, I reckon.
Because you're only a young fella. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going away from the quick question, sorry. What's the best thing you cook then?
I love my burrito bowls and like homemade parmas, like crumbing them and like doing it all myself. Yeah.
What cheese do you use with it?
Just mozzarella.
Yeah,
just sort of sprinkle a little. I don't overdo the cheese because like you don't want to have too much cheese on it. But
Yeah, nice. All right, sorry, would you rather have the career of Michael Jordan, the business acumen of Elon Musk, movie career of Chris Hemsworth, or be the PM of Australia?
Jordan.
Okay. Yeah.
Jordan.
Good
Yep.
answer. Good answer.
Which Freo player would have ice in their veins to kick a goal after the grand siren?
Sonny Walters.
Sonny Walters?
Sonny Walters.
Pure ice?
100%, yeah.
Question. Hidden talent that others would not know about besides your number one ranked skiing ability?
Geez, I don't know. Can we skip?
Skiing is pretty good.
Skiing.
Yeah, I
To
think it's
learn that
probably
you're
just
skiing,
skiing.
that's pretty good. What about favourite subject at school that isn't PA? Because most footy players are going to say PA.
Maths.
Maths?
Yeah.
Nice.
Final question from me. What's your best manscaping tip for others?
In terms of
Manscaping in general.
Just looking good.
Just
You're a good-looking
You're a
rooster.
good-looking rooster, mate. So you help.
Is it
help
skincare
us out.
routine?
Help
Is
us
it?
out here.
Well, I don't need much help, Oz. So I don't know. You talk about yourself, mate. I'm looking at this mirror. I can see a handsome dude. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, bud.
Nah, not too much. If you want to look like Youngie, grow your hair long.
Yeah, okay.
Grow your hair long.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, final one. Weirdest unit at the club.
Driz.
Driz,
Driz,
nice,
I like it.
nice.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
Driz
good.
is making a bit of a resurgence.
He is.
Tabs was back, and then Driz, and
Oh,
it's
so Tabs, probably Tabs, but Driz as well. I love
Okay.
Drizzy.
Driz is up there. All right, Karl Worner, thank you for joining us on the Final Siren.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
All right,
it.
cheers.